Okay, guys, I think we are good to go. All the required people are here, and I'm very glad to welcome at another Toastmaster meeting. Since we've got all our club members, I'm pretty sure you know all the rules. Double check if you are muted or unmuted. Make sure you smile because our videos are being recorded and put on YouTube channel. And with that being said, we are good to go. I'll pass the stage to Mr. Walter Schwarz.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I would love to welcome you exactly with the first gesture of today, which is clapping your hands. Nonetheless, that we're still online and working on the offline world, we need to make it as lively as possible. So just use your hands always, because it's a pleasure to clap and to receive the clappings as well. Fantastic, Rami. That's what we want. You can choose like that, or like that, or like that if you had a fresh shade. Nonetheless, it is very great seeing 9 of us today, which is still good. Some new faces, although people say that Roman is not a new member in our club. He's been seen here before. I would open up the meeting by welcoming Valeriya Gagarina on board, who is our very freshest member, but not that fresh because she's already having today our Toastmaster of the Day role. And due to the fact that Valeriya is has a background in an agile software development environment in terms of T-Systems company in Russia, which is also located and based in Germany. Nothing else we expect than perfect agile management in a chaotic meeting as we're used to. I'm going to hand over to the Toastmaster of the Day, Valeriya Gagarina.
Hey. Thank you, Mr. President, for that introduction. It put a little pressure on me now. So, dear fellow Toastmasters, we don't have any guests today. So hello and welcome to our 135th meeting of Saint Petersburg Club. And it is my pleasure to be a Toastmaster of the Day today. The Toastmaster of the Day role is to be a host of the meeting. I will introduce today's speakers and participants in other roles. I will guide you through the agenda and make sure that our meeting runs smoothly and on time. After all the speeches have conducted, I will introduce the general evaluator, ask the R counter and the grammarian for their reports, and call on the ballot counter for results. I will then return control to our president, Walter Schwarz, for conclusion of the day. Another task of Toastmaster of the Day, as you all know, is to choose theme of the day. With help of Michael Wader, thank you very much, Michael. I choose today's theme, and it's Siblings Day. Siblings Day is an unofficial holiday celebrated annually on April 10th. It was created by New Yorker Claudia Ewart in memory of her brother and sister, whom she lost early in her life. The day aims to celebrate the very important but often underappreciated special relationship shared between siblings. The one of us who have been lucky enough to have siblings know that sometimes they can be very annoying and around. But this should not stop you from celebrating. This relationship with your sibling possibly will be the longest relationship in your life. I myself am lucky to have a brother, Denis. He is 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days older than I. However, when I was a child, I wanted to exchange him for a sister who I would like to play dolls and other girly games with, instead of playing with cars and weapons in my childhood. But my parents didn't allow me to do this exchange. So today we will have 3 prepared speeches, but before jumping to the speeches, let me introduce my helpers for today. By the way, today we don't have a joke master, don't we? No, okay. So, not jokes today, very serious meeting. Okay, then let's start with my first helper, accounter and grammarian. Today it's 2 in 1, and it is Michael Wader. Michael is a baby in his family because they have 3 boys and he's the youngest one, much younger than his 2 elder brothers. The brothers are 86 and 82 years old now, and they all hope to live as long as their mother did, to 97 years. Let's welcome Michael Wader.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Great to be here. Great to be the grammarian and the accounter. As the accounter, I will be listening for your postulates where you're going to fill in your vocabulary with words that don't belong there. You may be using ahs and ums or so's and ands. I'll be keeping track of those during the meeting and writing them down so that at the end I can give you a little bit of a report as to those things that you can work on. Also, as your grammarian, I'm going to be listening to your vocabulary, and I'm going to be listening for good sentences and bad sentences. Some of you will say things today that are good and memorable, and we need to try to use them again in the future. And you're also going to say some things that we should avoid. So I will try to point out both. I'm going to use my screen share and give you the word of the day. Find it here. The word of the day is festival. Festival is the word of the day. And the festival is you can see it's either doesn't have to be religious, but it could be religious, could be time. It's a festive time of observance, such as Christmas or the Roman festival. It's a periodic anniversary or celebration. Example, using it in a sentence, an annual strawberry festival. It's a period or program of time also in cultures and entertainment, maybe a music festival. Those are nouns. If you want to use it as an adjective, you could say a festival atmosphere of unrestrained joy. Now, this today, as Valeriya said, is a sibling day. So I'm going to use it in a sentence. The sibling holiday is a family festival. So you can use it any way you wish, and you don't have to use the full word festival. You might say something is festive, like this evening's party was very festive. That's also acceptable. This is the word of the day, and I'm going to keep track of who says it and try to report that at the end. And hopefully you'll be able to fit that into your conversation or your speeches or your reports somewhere today. Those are my 2 tasks as accounter and grammarian. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you, Michael. It was a very clear introduction to the roles. And the next helper of me is actually 3 in 1. It's timer, ballot counter, and quiz master, Alexander Kim. Alexander has an elder brother. They have a typical brother relationship in childhood. They used to fight each other, play video game together, and Alexander also pranked his brother a lot. Alexander, the word to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Yes, absolutely. I was the annoying brother of 2 of us. You are absolutely right in that regard. As a timer, I will count your time, and you could see what your timing is as I will change my background. So before you talk, especially the speakers, you could pin me. Don't forget to do that, so you can keep track of how much time do you still have. So all our speakers speeches are from 5 to 7 minutes to 7 minutes. At the 5 minutes, you'll see the green background, yellow at 6, and red at 7, meaning you should wrap it up as soon as possible. Then at the end of each speaking section, I will give a short report for the ballot counters. As a ballot counter, I'm gonna choose only those people who were on time to put them in our voting system. So at the end of each speech section, we'll have a quick vote to vote for the best speaker, table topic speaker, and evaluator. Lastly, I will be a quizmaster today, so I will listen carefully to everything that is being said during the meeting. At the end of our meeting, I will provide a quick report. I will ask some questions about some facts, and you guys will put your answers in chat. That's basically it. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Alexander. And yeah, actually, those all my helpers for today. There will be also evaluators for each speech, a general evaluator, but we will come to that later in our second part when it is the time for them to step up on the stage. And now we can go straight to our main part of the meeting, which is prepared speeches. And the first speaker will be Walter Schwarz. And Walter has a non-identical twin brother, Robert, who is very opposite to Walter. Robert has never left Germany, only for some holidays, but inside they are very alike. Robert is the introverted introvert, and Walter is extroverted introvert. Walter is doing the Toastmaster path, innovative planning, actually as all three speakers today. They're doing all the same path. The project is researching and presenting. The speech will take 5 to 7 minutes. This topic is about research and present an unfamiliar topic. Organize the speech clearly to maximize audience understanding, craft clear and engaging transition between main sections of the speech, and cite sources to support speech content and make sources list available also. We often love surprises, but only the good ones. Let us see if we find out other perspective on how to cope with no so good surprises best. Let's give our warm welcome to Walter with his speech, Always Look on the Bright Side of Life.
Thank you very much, Valeriya. Thank you very much, dear Toastmasters members. And let me kick this off with always look on the bright side of life. Doo-doom, 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 doo-doom. Everyone who's familiar with that song, please raise your left hand and shake it into the camera. Everyone else who's smiling does not know the song? Okay, let's try again with everyone who knows it. Always look on the bright side of life. Doo-doom, 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 doo-doom. There we go. So a few more people are reminded to that. That song is from the very long past, as I'm aware of, and is very popular for whatever happens to your life, you should just focus on the bright side of life. And that is always a good advice from couch coaches like husbands and friends and other people who don't understand the situation you're in, and it's always a very fast cure. Always look on the bright side of life, no matter what happens to you. Now, let's find out quickly through this speech if that is actually a good advice. Considering the fact that a lot of people say that the bright side of life, once I have the right job, once I have the right place or a different country, say my client from German lectures right now, she's preparing to move to Germany, saying this is where life will begin, in Germany, once I am there. My friend, whom I've known for 15 years, is just about, no, he has, a week ago with his wife moved from Saint Petersburg, he's been living here for 8 years, to Sydney, and is totally excited because now this is the bright side of life and this is where the real life will begin. Now let's find out and think forward. If those people will go to those bright life situations or places, will they reach their epiphany? Will it really work out like that? And will it really be the solution to the overall happiness? You might guess, probably it's a bit trickier than that. Now, I have discovered a little bit and did some research and come up to a documentary where I overemphasized stuff and looked up a documentary about rich kids, super rich kids in New York, I think that was, and in the UK, where these are children being born already rich by millionaire and billionaire people. And one of those people, one of those pupils, actually, 16 and 25-year old, he revealed his own story and has shown the world of how kids live who have everything and every place and can do whatever they want with their goals. And he has discovered the majority of them are depressed, have no hope, and have no self-esteem due to the sheer fact because everything they have, they cannot encounter to themselves, but it's been by the father, it's been by the circumstances, it's been by, and a lot of them unfortunately have already died and passed away due to suicide. Now, that is an extraordinary result, I thought to myself, and that, well, but this is maybe exceptionally an exceptional example. Then I was reading major books by who focus on the environment of where people are raised. Say, Steve Jobs and Microsoft founder were only successful due to the fact that they were grown up in a space and an environment which provided them access to Silicon Valley. And Microsoft founder Bill Gates has access from his father to the university and research center where he could night time spent by developing and finding out the only computer which was available in the world where he could actually learn stuff. So one might assume environment is the key, which is much, much more critical to where not only the space itself in terms of are you rich or not rich, but a supportive environment. I thought about that, and then I recalled a friend of mine. It's been a while, we're from the same school, but meanwhile I was traveling a lot around the world, changing places, and he has become a startup founder himself and a millionaire by the age of 30 from Berlin. And then I recalled and did some research on what he's doing today. And I found an interesting interview with him, Mr. Fabian Heilemann, who had said, you know what, to the interviewer, I have reached whatever I wanted in my life. I have created a startup and managed to have enough millions for me I've never dreamed of. And by the time I received that, I wish I could be a designer. And I could not believe it. I could think he now will tell me how it is when you even do it yourself, not given like the millionaire kids. Now, that can't be solution as well. But the more critical part, he said, was very, very, very at the end. And he said, once I talked to my father about it, and his father is a psychologist, and he said, Dad, would you change having my millions and changing to your lifestyle? And his father said, never in my life. And that was striking to me by the time I found out it's not about a better place, a better country. It's not about being rich and having enough money. It's not about the environment supporting you, but it's sheer result of what you do. Becoming millionaire and wishing open up an art theater and performance like the millionaire in Saint Petersburg did, and then eventually starting to do what he's aimed for, that is probably the ultimate key. Now, my message to all of you is not always look on the bright side of life, but always look on your bright side of self. It's not where you want to be, it's what you want to do. Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster, Mrs. Toastmaster, and dear guests.
Thank you, Walter. It's a lot to think about it. Now I'm a little happy that I'm not a billionaire daughter. And I have to look up this song, apparently popular. I missed somehow. Okay, and now I suggest to all of us to take
Valeriya,
yeah.
we need to give the evaluator a minute to fill out his form. So we just need to be quiet for a minute while he's filling that out. If anybody would like to give feedback to Walter in the chat, please go in the chat and do that to Walter, but we're going to take 1 minute of silence while we wait.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
Okay, I didn't know if you had that on your agenda. I apologize.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and I just want to mention, yes, when you go to the chat, write your feedback in the private messages. Choose from down list the name of Walter. Don't send it to all of us. Okay, the 1 minute passed. I hope everyone had enough time to fill their feedback and send it. And at this time, we're going on with the second speaker, which is Roman Malashin. Roman has a brother, and they treat each other as real brothers. Person who share genes, have a lot of compromising information on each other, and probably will someday face the problem of heritage distribution. A relation that Roman find very beneficial and comfortable for everyone. Roman is also in innovative planning path, and today he is having second speech of evaluation and feedback project. The main goal is to present either a new speech or the same speech that incorporates some or all of the feedback received from the presentation of the first speech. Roman finds Toastmaster speech as an opportunity to structure thoughts on the topic that touch his interests. Today, he is delivering another speech in this direction. The title of the speech is 3 Keys to Innovation. Roman, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, fellow Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster. Today, I'm going to talk about the subject that lurked around me for a while. And I'm a researcher, and I'm a researcher in artificial intelligence. And why I consider myself a researcher is because I always desired to create something new, to create something that didn't exist before, to gain some new knowledge. This was always my desire. And being in the field of artificial intelligence, I feel that there are a lot of room for new discoveries, new technologies, new breakthroughs in this area. However, analyzing my own contribution to the field and looking at the people in the field, and I've been experienced with communication and working with many companies in this area like Samsung, LG, Huawei, Intel, and I found that I used to overestimate some of the qualities and mental setups that are needed to good breakthrough research. Among them are intelligence, knowledge, uniqueness of the ideas, even hardworking. I used to overestimate them. At the same time, I used to underestimate some other things. And I wanted in the speech to summarize them. And here are 3 ingredients I found to be very useful and very vital for innovation. And the first one is believing. So one important thing when you do something new is you have to believe in what you're doing. And it's much harder to believe that doesn't exist yet. Sometimes it's really hard because there are always obstacles on your way to your discovery, maybe on new technology or something new. There are always obstacles. And even if you don't believe in what you're doing, then you will probably stop before the real success. And many people think that science guarantees you the result, but actually scientific research is not a science. It's an art, and you have to take risks, and you have to believe in the thing that didn't exist. And one good example of this is my favorite researcher, Geoffrey Hinton. In the field of artificial intelligence, he is a godfather. He just created what we have today in this field by a large margin. And once he was interviewed and asked, what helped you to continue your research when nobody believed it will work? And he answered very simply, I knew they were all wrong. So everybody was wrong, but he believed he is right. And he continued for decades, the same research, the same direction. And finally, he and his team made a lot of breakthroughs in this area. So I think it's a good example. The second key component I consider to be very important in the mental setup is open-mindedness. So when you face some problem in what you're doing, I believe you can have two negative consequences and two negative mental outcomes from this. So for example, you failed with some experiment, you didn't get the results you wanted, there may be two negative outcomes. First outcome is that you fear the result because you didn't expect it. And this is very bad because your brain will prevent you to continue your research. And that means maybe that you do not really believe in yourself, you do not believe in what you're doing. So it goes to part one of my ingredients. But another negative consequences is stubbornness. Some people just used to ignore the result. They used to ignore what they see. They just repeatedly do the same thing. They try to push the nature to do what they want, but that doesn't work. And as some proof of this, I would like to share the research of one scientific group. They tried to study what makes startups successful. And they found that there are many startups who fail in the beginning. Major of the startups fail. And there are many, many people who try it again and again. And among those who finally succeed and those who finally failed, there is one difference they have found, is that those who succeed changed. They changed their methodology, they changed their maybe ideas, and those who failed, they consequently do the same things again and again. So ability to be open-minded and honest with what you have is very important in my mind. And the third ingredient that I found very important for me is concentration. So I think many of us have heard about the dilemma of time versus quality. So, or you have to do it quickly, or you do it with quality. So I just want to ask the audience, who agrees with this statement? Time or quality? Yes. Nobody. Yeah, there are people. So what I found for myself is actually that for the most important tasks, for the most difficult tasks, you actually don't need to have a lot of time. You need just to have concentration. You need a short period of time of full devotion, full concentration, and full dedication to what you're doing. And for example, I have my own experience when I did the research for 1 year, and finally I found myself with 2 weeks left, and I had to do a lot of stuff. And to do this, I had to switch off my phone, wake up early in the morning until the late night, do my research. And finally, I found that in 2 weeks, I did much more than in the previous year. And for me, it was a really breakthrough. And I believe the most important things are done with a short period of time by the cost of concentration. So there were the three key factors for me to do innovation: is believing, open-mindedness, and concentration. And I believe it is applicable to everyone in many, many other fields. So, Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you very much, Roman. It's a very interesting topic, and I think it's really applicable to anything we do in life. Myself, I didn't have much time to prepare to the role as Toastmaster, and it was hard to me. I also woke up early today to do that. So we'll see what general evaluator will tell about my performance if I need to put more time next time. Okay, and now again, let's do the same for Roman. Please write your feedback. What you like about the speech? What you think can be done better next time? in the direct messages private chat, Roman, and I give you 1 minute for that. The time for feedback is done, and we are going to proceed to the next speaker, Konstantin Kuts, which actually was prepared to be a speaker 2 weeks ago, but for some technical reasons, it was transferred to today. And Konstantin has an older sister. They are in good relationship, but he wishes he'd call her more often than he does. Konstantin, today is siblings day, so it's a good reason to call you sister then. Another speech in innovative planning path. Introduction to Toastmaster mentoring, 5 to 7 minutes. The task is to present a speech about a time when being a protege, share the impact and importance of having a mentor, avoid reporting on the content of this project. Today, Konstantin wants to say a few words about his views on mentoring and coaching. He also has first-hand experience on both sides as being a mentee and a mentor. Here's Konstantin's let us listen for his words of wisdom in the speech called "The One Alone in the Field is Not a Warrior." Konstantin, the floor is yours.
Thanks for introducing me so well. Fellow Toastmasters friends, I'm here today to tell you about my experience working with mentors. And first of all, let me ask you, who of you ever been working with someone who you consider a mentor or a coach? Please raise your hand. Okay, and do you think they really worth their money they've been asking for? Okay, so nice. And how do you think? But what about me? I sincerely think that working with mentors give me much more experience, much more ways to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish than otherwise if I were pursuing it by myself. And it helped me to build skill sets that I was striving for at the point of time. So in my opinion, the first reason you want to have a mentor is you have an urgent desire to boost your performance in some particular area. In order to achieve better results in any field of your interest, you should follow the lead of someone who is already there you want to be. Someone who advanced in that particular aspiration of yours. In other words, whose skills seemed like a festival of accomplishments in your eyes. By going along this way, you will avoid all the mistakes that person have made when he was like going his way up to that pedestal of what where you seen him first time you was approaching him. Oh, it's so complicated. The opportunity to invite a mentor is your life. It's like to have an older brother or maybe a father who you seem like an example, and then you just do what they did, and you just suck up all his good intentions and skills. And if you on the other hand, if you follow along without inviting anyone in your life, any coach, any mentor, you go what we call in software development ad hoc approach. It's so-called try and error approach, the least effective, costly, and barbaric way of getting things done. because having a mentor on your side gives you the opportunity of structuring the learning path and having a direct expert opinion, side opinion on how and what you do and when you do and so on. Aside from our Toastmasters network, if you are already a member, of course, you can get someone who can give you feedback on your performance, suggest effective techniques and tricks customized and tailored especially for you. Public speaking is not an academic discipline. There's no a lot of formulas and equations here to learn. Although I'm pretty sure you can learn everything by yourself, it will take more time and effort and blood and nerves if you will go along. So about my experience, I remember my first steps in Toastmasters when I was a rookie member of my first Toastmasters group. It was in Manila in the Philippines. I was looking with my large eyes around, realizing that every senior member is so good at the presentations of theirs. Their delivery is so wholesome, perfect. They never looked at their notes, and their speeches were so inspiring, so neat and well crafted. And I thought, like, those guys are some kind of professionals, or maybe consultants, salespeople, or whatever. And some of them actually were, but the majority of the guys, they were just, you know, people with odd regular jobs, such as accountants, office clerks, and students, but strong desire to advance their storytelling and professional skills was something that united us all in that group, and that was part of our routine and a hope for advancement in our careers and personal lives. So, and that inspiration was leading us through the boredom of life, through the hardest on earth traffic jams of Metro Manila, to attend our regular Wednesday Toastmasters events at Salcedo Village in the heart of National Capital Region, where we go to develop better versions of ourselves and help our peers to grow. I've spent more than a year in my first club with my, and I saw a modest and shy person becomes more and more confident, talkative, inspired, becomes doer, taker, and even achieve a prize place at the district competition. At some point, I've decided that I need to get a member. My mentor became Goldie. She was a consultant and a marketing professional and apparently a ghostwriter. I was very impressed by her skills and how she was jungling words that the ensemble, the festival of words was coming out of her mouth. Then she was speaking and giving the evaluations to our peers. And I really think that her tips helped me to become a better speaker and a better presenter. To conclude, if you are going to pursue your dream to excel in public speaking and English fluency, join our club. We don't have guests today, so it doesn't make sense what I'm talking about. But if you know someone, if you watch it on YouTube, go join our club immediately and find yourself a mentor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Konstantin. If I would not be in the club already, I would definitely sign up. And actually, I was recently thinking and hesitating to get a mentor in my professional life. And I think you gave me a nudge to start looking for one seriously, but not now, on Monday. I will start. And now again, let's take 1 minute to give a feedback for Konstantin and direct messages. What thoughts you have about it? What did you like? What can be improved in the future? Okay, and now please finish writing if you're not finished yet. And now the time of our prepared speeches section is over. Thank you to all speakers again. It was a real festival of ideas and innovations. And now we will see what was the time records, and I give the award to Alexander Kim.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Walter's speech time was 6 minutes 36 seconds. Roman was 7 minutes 3 seconds, and Konstantin was over the time to participate in the vote. His timing was 7 minutes 46 seconds. The voting link is in the chat as well.
Okay, now we just wait for everyone to vote. And after that, we will have a break for 10 minutes. And as usual, we're doing breakout session, yes, as usual. Okay, yeah, and then we will be transferred to breakout session where we can chat with each other. Of course, whoever needs to do something a part of it, just feel free to do that. Okay, I hope everyone has a good conversation and had a little rest, but it's time to come back to our second part of the meeting, which will be table topics. It is time to improvise, and everyone is welcome to participate. Yeah, we don't have any guests, but if we would have any, they would also be part of it. So the table topic master of today is Rami Saeed. Rami has a younger brother who is, however, taller than Rami. And he's so tall that he can barely fit his head under the door frame. Rami and his brother used to have regular fights and arguments. One of the favorite ways for Rami to get back at his brother was to get him angry and run fast. And the brother usually smacks his head up the door frame. Yeah. Okay, Rami, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Hello and welcome everyone to our next exciting part, the festive part of our session, which is the improvisation and trying to get ourselves to practice this very important skill of thinking on our feet. And this is also to give a chance for you to play and to have fun, and also to let the people who didn't participate to have a chance to say something. Now, this time I will do it a little bit different. I will be reading out the challenge, and then I will choose one of you at random to speak. And this will make things very challenging. For those who don't know, you have to speak within 1 minute to 2 minutes. So 1 minute, you get the green line. 1 minute and a half, it's the yellow line. And 3 minutes is the red line. Sorry, 2 minutes is the red line. Yeah. Thank you, Alexander. So I will be sharing the screen right now. And let's start the game. So today's theme is siblings. So here is the first one. And it says, time machine. Your relative found a time machine. Imagine. Travel back through time to warn you that you must move to Australia or else life on Earth will end. Why? Okay, so I'll be choosing Randall.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Table Topic Master. I'm intrigued by this question, and the question why, I'm just interpreting, why did my relative bother to tell me? Why did he care about telling me this? Well, I think it's because it's a grandson, and my grandson wanted to be alive. And he realized when he somehow acquired the information that something pivotal would happen back in the year 2021, and that there was some, perhaps he had a glimpse in an alternate reality in which he didn't exist. And so he knew that if I chose this path not to come to St. Petersburg or to stay in St. Petersburg, but if I didn't leave to Australia, then his life would certainly come to an end because he wouldn't have been born. Now, this is all very complicated because, as you know, Rami, I have 4 kids and I have a Russian wife, and she would be very, very unhappy if I were to move to Australia and have another child. So I'm going to have to think about this question, this dilemma that I would face that you presented to me today. But thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much, Randall. This was a lovely attempt, and you managed to survive this challenge. Now for the next one. It's called the Mr. or Miss Inventor. Your mom, father, grandma, someone walks in on you and your relative and says, "Oh, wow, this is so cool. Tell me, what did you create?" For this, I will choose Marina. You can repeat the question.
Thank you, Rami. Yes, I'll take some time to repeat the question. Your mom, father, or grandma walks in on you and your relative and says, "Oh, wow, this is so cool. What did you create?" The first answer comes to my mind is I just created a mess. But let me improvise it a little bit differently. I think the last story I remember that impressed my relatives was when I started the drawing during the pandemic time. So, you know, as you all know, we all had a little bit more time staying home, and I was researching kind of, you know, what are the other skills I haven't been advanced at. So I decided that, oh, well, I always wanted to draw. So why don't I try take some courses? So I took some courses, and there were probably I would create like a one drawing a day, and I would place them all on my window just to kind of draw them up because I was drawing with a watercolor. And so one day my dad came into my room and he's like, "Oh, what is all this? So who did this?" And I was like, "Oh, that was me." He's like, "Oh, I didn't know you can draw." So I think that was the best compliment, I think, from my dad. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Very well, Marina. It's nice to know that you draw. It's nice to use this technology in improvisation. Very good. Now the next one, Mars. If you were to go to Mars to build a colony, who from your relatives would you take with you and why? I would choose for this one, Michael.
Mr. Table Topics Master, thank you very much for this very exciting idea. And there is no doubt in my mind who I would take with me. I would take my next older brother, George, with me. George is always creating creative things. When my mother had 3 boys, 2 of us, George and I, got her creative instinct. At 87, she wrote her first music without ever having any music training whatsoever. She wrote her song, had 5 records recorded before she was 90. and had all this done after she was an octarian already. My brother and I picked these things up, and my brother has built so many interesting things. He has taken windows out of an old building and built a greenhouse in his own home with it so that the sun could come in and grow plants inside of his house. He has made decorations in his home out of roots from trees. He got the roots, cut it down, soaked it in an oil, and then coated it and made lamps out of it. He has done so many, many, many creative things. And recently he has told me that, Michael, your invention of a solar cooker that I made about 8 years ago, I came up with a solar cooker and needs no energy whatsoever, only uses the sun to cook. He said that we should put these things together. And right now, he wrote me a letter 2 weeks ago. His wife cannot walk. She has to use a walker when she walks, but she likes to go on the beach. So what's he doing? He's building a beach walker, big balloon tires, a place to sit down on the beach with a little bit of an umbrella below it. That's going to be above it. He's got all these ideas, and he doesn't only think of them, he makes them himself with his own hands. The same way I do when I invent things or when I make things, it's with my own mind and my own hands. So him and I would go to Mars, we would live well, and there's no doubt in my mind, soon people would want to be coming to visit us because we live so well. Mr. Table Topics Master, back to you.
Thank you, Michael. It's very helpful to have someone in the family who is an inventor, who can make things. This is a very lucky. Oh, very nice too. Very nice. Okay, so the next one. Secret letter. You receive a shocking letter from your sibling. What does it say? What happened? Konstantin.
Yeah. Okay, if I received a secret letter from my sister, probably she's asking for some money. Otherwise, it's my birthday and she wants to greet me happy birthday. Okay. I don't have much to say about secret letter, but let's assume that it all starts from from the beginning, that my sister wants to introduce me to some idea of her, that she wants to make a surprise, maybe for my mom or for some other relative, and she wants me to meet her at the secret venue. So she sends me a secret letter to meet me at the secret venue, and then we will wear like coats and hats, and we will act like secret agents. Or maybe this venue will happen in the middle of the local festival, and we will wear glasses and no one will suspect that we're doing something sketchy and schemy. But anyway, yeah, she really, we never did something like this together before, so I assume that it just a wrong correspondence. Back to you.
Thank you, Konstantin. I love that you used the word of the day and that you have money, sister, and agents in 1 minute. It's a very interesting combination. Number 5, you are a god. You have the ability to give your relatives superpower. What would you give who what superpower? For that, I will choose Alexander, and I will time you.
Okay, I am a god. Nothing surprising so far. I have ability to give my relatives superpowers. What would you give who what superpower? What a nice question. So that superpower shouldn't be stronger than mine superpower, so I really need to think carefully on this one. One of my relatives, probably my brother, who I like to prank a lot, he would get a superpower of understanding when was the last time the person that he was speaking to last washed his hands? A pretty unique ability which makes things weird, makes him wonder, should I shake his hand or not? And as my brother is a salesperson, that would probably screw up some of his sales as well. So as a prank, I would give him this weird superpower. My mother, on the other hand, she likes flowers a lot. So I would give her an ability to have a better smelling, probably. Like she can identify any flower just from a picture, but to smell a flower like from kilometers, I think she would appreciate that. So that's it. And back to you, Mr. Table Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. Okay, so your time is 1 minute and 12 seconds. Good job. And yeah, I mean, awesome. Having superpowers and giving them is a strong thing. Now, imaginary game. Explain your favorite imaginary game that you played with your relatives. For this one, I will choose Roman.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master, for this interesting question. So, and when I think about imaginary game, I do not remember the game that was directly imaginary with my relative. But when I was small, I used to play. In Russia, it's very popular to play cities. Do you know this game when you need to name a city, and the last letter of the city should be the first letter of the city the next one creates? So when I used to play it with my father, as soon as I knew much fewer cities and was not that good in geometry or in geography, so I used to imagine cities, and because I thought I heard somewhere that they exist. And this game always continued with proving that if the city really exists or not. And I think that was a very interesting game because it actually develops your imagination when you need to somehow to discover something that sounds realistic, but probably do not exist in reality. Thank you very much.
Lovely things. This is something that we should probably go gather around and play together. Thank you very much, Roman. Now we move to the seventh one. Cartoon. Imagine that your life and your relatives turned into a cartoon. What is your character? What did you all do? Walter, please. The floor is yours.
You, Mr. Table Topics Master, thank you very much for such an inspirational number 7, the lucky 7 number. It is only a festival what will come out of my mind just right now. I rephrase once again. Imagine that your life and your relatives turned into a cartoon. What is your character? What did you all do? That is very easy because this is probably how I see my daily life in the world around myself as well. However, it's not always a cartoon, but eventually it's animals, right? We're sapiens, so every character has something which reminds me of an animal. Say, I probably would see myself as a chameleon because going to different countries or having to speak different dialects or using a variety of the Arabic R is very interesting to me. So it's a chameleon adapting. But my father would probably be a lion. A lion is a person who's actually not very energetic. He likes to smooth things, control stuff, but not in a harsh, fast-moving way. But he's the king of his house and the yard. Nothing really happens a lot in his life, as in a lion's life. When he needs to eat, then things get up become very chaotic, and he starts calling someone. But apart from that, he's just go from one room to another and behaves very small. My mom is probably like a person in terms of a duck, because she's very chatty, she's very active. She goes also from one room to the other, checking if the lion is okay, but the lion is actually not doing any harm. But when he's got some food left, or he's hungry, but there's no food left, then the duck needs to really speed up and create something and go in the garden and make some fresh stuff and get some salad. But both are very, very polite and friendly altogether. Thanks a lot, dear Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Walter. The use of the word of the day and to put our family members as these characters, it's something that's very fun to do. I think I should do it in my free time. So we have now Valeriya for this one. It's called That Day. Remind me what happened that day with the eggs, relative, and balloons, and that clown on the roof. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Rami. It's a very interesting question. Let me think about it. Clown on the roof. Well, it was not a clown on the roof. It was my father, and he was fixing it. And it was Easter time. That's why there were eggs. It's tradition in many countries here to color the eggs and then hide them in the garden and look for them. So as my father was on the roof, then he could see everything, observe it. And there were no balloons, actually. I don't think there were any balloons anywhere. And so, as you can guess, it was the celebration, family gathering together for Easter to have some fun. Unfortunately, the weather was not so great. It was a storm, and that's why my father has to fix the room instead of having a festival with all others.
Thank you so much, Valeriya. Back now, we have finished our session, and I would like to move back the control to the Toastmaster Valeriya.
Thank you, Rami. It was really a great preparation for the table topics. And I enjoyed it a lot. And now it's the timer's step to say if everyone was on time or not. Alexander?
Yes, everybody were on time, and you can vote right now. The new link is in the chat. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Yeah, the link is already in the chat. Please proceed and give your vote. And just give some quick reaction when you're done with the vote. Thumb up or wave or something else so we can see who is done, who is not. Okay, Randall, you saying something or you're on mute?
Thumbs up.
Okay, is everyone done? I didn't see reaction from Konstantin.
I counted votes. Everybody has voted.
Okay, everybody has voted. Perfect job. Thank you, everyone. And now let's. I will pass the ball to the general evaluator, Randall. And the story of Randall and his siblings is would be a ready plot for a movie or a book. Randall has two half siblings, both of whom are quite a bit older than him. His sister married so early that she never lived with Randall, and she is more like an aunt to him. And he didn't know about his brother until he was turned 22, because his father ran away with the brother, and then she tried to find him for years but could not. And only after 35 years, he found her. So I think that story is very touching and really could be made a movie of it. Randall, the word to you.
Thank you very much. Well, that, Madam Toastmaster, so that story, one conclusion you can make from that story is that I'm more than 35 years old. So it's a pleasure to be with you today, and it's a pleasure to, for all of us to have a chance to help our Toastmaster of the day and all of our members and guests who are here to learn and grow from their experience. The people who put the most work into our meeting are the people who make prepared speeches. And so we will start our evaluation session with the evaluations of each speaker. Our first evaluator of the day is going to be Marina, and she is evaluating Walter's speech. So Marina, can you please come to the floor?
Okay, I'm here. Not that far away. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about evaluation of Mr. Walter. This is going to be hard. So I think, and Walter, thank you so much for sharing your insights. This is brilliant when you talking about something that you discovered yourself, but based on your personal stories, and also talking through the way how you get there by looking at the documentary, by reading particular books, or talking to certain people, or learning someone else's experiences or personal stories. So that's wonderful. We kind of, you took our attention and you walk us through all this path to get to the conclusion where we realize that the bright side, you should always look at the bright side of yourself, not bright side of the life. So that was wonderful, and I think that was that's one of my insights as well right now for today. A great beginning. It's wonderful to start with a question, so to take awareness of everybody and to grab our attention. So I noticed how everyone started thinking about this question and raising hands. But after that, I felt like I wanted a little bit more questions like that throughout the speech, so kind of have this game going with the audience. I also liked your vocal variants. It's always sounds like a little bit festive, it's always you bringing up something to the table. You're always excited about the subject. So it's also great to have a speaker who inspire, who motivate, and by using his vocal tool or skills to play with this volume and pauses. I also think it takes our attention to when you change this vocal volumes. I also like that the speech was well organized. You had a good start. You talked about different resources, and you had a great conclusion. The only thing I was I was thinking that you referred us to certain sources like documentary or books, or a millionaire. You said a name, but I wanted to have a little bit more references to the sources, because at that moment I was even writing it down just to look up later on. But I kind of, maybe we needed a little bit more information or references to where we can look this documentary up, like maybe on Netflix or something else, or something about this millionaire, Fabian Halerman. I think I got it right. I'm not sure. But just because this subject was about research and insights, I think it's also important to make more references to those sources that you're using. So it's easier for the audience to later on to go back to those sources and maybe read it or watch the movie again. I think overall, the speech was very motivational, and it was, you know, it's very clear the way you speak. You used great you used great words. Your vocabulary is great. One additional maybe advice where to advance at the speeches would be maybe smile a little bit more. And I know you always smile, you always festive, cheerful, but maybe today was just that day when you were a little bit more nervous, or probably a little bit less slept last night or something. But it was kind of, your smile was kind of missing today. And thank you again for sharing this wonderful speech. And back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Marina. Our second evaluator today will be, guess, Walter Schwarz. Walter Schwarz is going to be the evaluator today for Roman's speech. Walter, smile, please. Over to you.
There we go. Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, for introducing me, so that I have a festival of a time evaluating Mr. Roman Malashin for today. Dear Roman, let me kick this off by saying that it was a pleasure for me listening to your speech. Why was it a pleasure for me to listen to your speech? Because you kicked it off with a fresh opening, getting us into your personal interest with the topic of AI, innovation and artificial intelligence, and your very idea that it is fantastic to create something new out of nothing, which has never existed before. That is something the majority of us automatically were hooked, because we know we like that. New is the word of everything. I really appreciated that. Also, you kicked it off nicely, moving along with a recipe introducing of a 3-ingredient structure, making it a cookbook through a story, how to make it all a nice dish, and splitting it up, helping our brain to structure your 3 ingredients for innovation, which allowed us to make it stick. This is something which was in particularly great, which I like myself. Besides that, I do believe that your vocal variety, and this is something you helped me understand, because I don't know and I couldn't tell with your focus on the screen, was it your focus on the speech delivery, or was it reading from some notes? And because I don't know it, I very much like the approach of listening to your style. However, when you asked a direct question into the audience, I believe it was something with, I don't know what the question was. I remember myself thinking, oh, was that a real question in terms of imperative invitation, pointing me to reply, or was it something you say, one could ask the question if blah, 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 and so forth. So what I'm saying, bottom line, is a little bit more of engagement into the camera, or maybe using the hand gestures as I'm doing now, extraordinary over emphasizing a little bit, is very useful in a professional speech like you delivered, because we are in an online world. And because we are in an online world, we cannot see how the audience behaves. So for you, just a hint at the end of the day, focus more of the interaction game with the camera, double checking if the audience is really with you or if you lost them. And I think that was a great speech. Thank you very much, Roman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Walter. Now, we will turn to Michael Vader. Michael is going to evaluate Konstantin Kuts' speech. So over to you, Michael Vader.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Konstantin, thank you very much for your presentation today. I thought that it was interesting to talk about mentors, as I have several mentees and I also have 2 mentors. So I have information on both sides, and your perspective was very interesting today. I'm not quite sure how you prepared for today's presentation. Your interest of topic was good, because we all think about a coach, we all think about a mentor, so it was interesting to everybody. Good choice of subject. But in preparing for this, I got the impression that you either typed out and then printed out or wrote out by hand all of your notes, because you were spending about 85 to 90% of the time looking at your notes instead of looking at the camera. And you were reading us a speech. Even in reading the speech, and I will get to this later as my grammarian report, but even in giving the speech, you still included more than 30 postulates, ams and ahs, even though you were reading a speech. So it looks like you were reading, getting lost, looking to find where you were in a sentence. When you look back down at it again, got lost, another postulate, got lost, another postulate. So each time as you were transitioning between the camera and reading and camera and reading and camera, you were adding words to it that weren't necessary. It became very, very obvious. This is something you need to think about in the future. You may want to practice your speech ahead of time so that you can give most of it without reading it. One of the ways to do that, and I'll give you a recommendation, is have it printed out as you do, and then make some notes, maybe 6 to 8 notes, small notes, from your large written text to small 6 or 8 notes. Put those 6 or 8 notes in front of your computer and practice it a few times, and eventually remove your notes so that you can give it without it. We do not know what you are going to say, so no matter what you say, it's right. We do not have a chance to read your script. So don't be afraid of changing it at the last minute during your delivery. No one's going to know, and you don't have to get it exactly right. A lot of people think they have to memorize it word for word and get it correct. Not what we're doing now. You can put your script up there and just go at it. And if you get this wrong, leave something out, no one's going to know. I also think something in the future, as you progress, you should try to move back. By that, I mean for you to stand up and give your presentation in a standing up mode. If you do this, I think you're going to be able to use hand gestures and other things, and I think it's going to add to your presentation of your speech. Okay, just try that sometime in the future. Overall, topic was very good. Overall, I thought the subject was well delivered. You need to think about the notes, you need to think about reading, and you need to think about possibly standing up and moving back. With those things, I think you're going to improve your presentation an awful lot. Mr. General Evaluator, back to you.
Hello. Sorry, I just whacked the wrong button here.
I hate that when it happens.
What the hell did I press?
Oh, there we go. We had you for a fraction of a second. Oh, we have you both.
Okay, here I am.
Okay,
thank you very much. Michael, thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Kim, timer of the day. That's my wife is listening to me and laughing at me. Can you please tell me the timing for the 3 speech evaluators, Marina, Walter Schwarz, and Michael Vader? And I know Marina's family name, Volodchenko, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, sure, Randall. Marina, unfortunately, was over the time. Her evaluation was more than 4 minutes. Walter Schwarz evaluation lasted for 2 minutes 49 seconds, and Michael Wader's evaluation lasted for 3 minutes and 3 seconds.
Okay,
Back to you,
so,
gentlemen.
so thank you very much. So for the evaluation, we can evaluate Walter and Michael. I mean, sorry, for the vote, we can vote for Walter and Michael, and you have now shared that link. If everyone would please click through the link. We pause for a moment while that happens.
I wonder why Randall learns Russian if he has native speakers at home.
He learns. He just learns slowly. Let's see. Yes, he's learning.
At home, only swear words.
Ibu, ibu.
No communication.
My son is my best tutor. Okay, enough about me. Everyone has voted. Let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, the first person we'd like to invite up as part of our evaluation team today will be our grammarian and awe counter of the day. And his name, as you all know, ends with Vader and starts with Michael. Michael, could you please tell us how we did today?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to tell you all. Today was a festival of postulates. We had 32, 70, 167 postulates today. And out of that, Randall had 9, Walter had 16, Valeriya had 16, Marina had 43, Roman had 27, Alexander Kim had 6, Rami had 8, Konstantin had 28, and I had 3. So we all were guilty. We all celebrated the postulate at the Festival of Postulates. So that's one thing that we need to work on. Our club is going up and down. Sometimes when people are measuring the A's, we wind up with 30 or 40, and somebody else measures the A's, and we wind up with 140. So it depends on the listener, how intently you look, how intently you listen. We need to be careful about that. We had several grammatical faux pas or problems during today. Someone said, one of them are. Not one of them are. If the way you pronounce it, the way you put it in a sentence, you're using a plural and a singular. He and his team, a lot of breakthrough. He and his team, a lot of breakthrough. That's not a complete sentence. He and his team had a lot of breakthrough. Him and his team saw a lot of breakthrough. Him and his team created a lot of breakthrough, but not he and him team a lot of breakthrough. As soon as I knew much, 2 different people used phrase that was almost exactly was like that. Another person almost exactly like that. As soon as I knew much. What, Rami, in your table topics, you had one and you plastered it right across the screen, so I couldn't help but recognize it. What would you give who what power? What would you give who what power? The sentence does not make sense. Who would you give power to and what type? Or what type of power and who would you give it to? But what would you give who what power doesn't make sense. There were several more. Somebody said try and error. It should have been trial and error, not try and error. Another person said, no, not lot of. No, not lot of. So use 2 negatives in a row. There were many more, and I couldn't write them all down because I also was the out counter. And when you're the out counter and grammarian, it's hard to keep track of all of them together. I think we're getting better as a club overall, but I think all of us need to take the time. when you have nothing to say and you are thinking for those 2 or 3 seconds between this one sentence and another sentence, or between one topic and another topic, just be quiet. Take the pause. Let the people think about what you're saying, and don't insert. Don't think that you need to insert an an a so, maybe, a like to fill in. Those fillers are not needed. So if we work on those fillers and reducing them, I think we're going to be better grammarians, you're going to be better speakers. We just need to work on it. And even myself, I had 3 today. It does happen. No matter how many speeches you give or how much you practice, we're still going to find a few, and that's okay. But let's work on making silent pauses when we're transitioning from one subject to another, and it will help you eliminate your postulates. Mr. General Evaluator, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Michael. Now, Alexander Kim is our quiz master of the day, and he is going to introduce, some questions to see if we've been paying attention today. Please, over to you, Alexander Kim. So excited I whacked the phone.
Absolutely, guys. So now I'll put questions in a chat. Make sure you crack your muscles, do some sports, and the first one to type a correct answer earns some Quizmaster points. Okay, first question of the day is, who wished to be a designer? Randall might be correct. I'm not sure.
Not me.
No. But Walter and Walter Schwarz is a correct answer. Absolutely. I'm not sure about Fabian. I don't think his name was mentioned. So I think, yeah, that's incorrect. Yeah. Second question, who is Robert? Robert.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's not the question.
Marina is correct. This is Walter's brother, also known as introverted introvert. The third question, what was the difference between succeeded startups and failed ones? Roman Malashin is very disappointed. Adaption to quick, it's kind of close, but I don't think we consider it as the right answer, right? Yeah, absolutely. Roman is a judge here. All right, so the right answer is change. They changed. They didn't all the way through their failed idea. They, I guess, pivoted. Is that what they say?
Is that correct, Roman?
Of course, it's correct. I'm the Quizmaster.
Well done.
I think Alexander has a super ability to correct answers to the questions he made up.
Okay, and last question for today. Sydney, Houston, New York, Berlin, London. Which city wasn't mentioned today? London, correct. I think Marina is the winner of a quiz today. So congratulations, Marina, and back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Okay, thank you very much, Quizmaster Kim, Quizmaster Alexander. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you some remarks on the overall conduct of our meeting today. First of all, of course, we started 6 minutes late. We actually started up the meeting 15 minutes early. Alexander Kim was there early. Valeriya, as the Toastmaster of the day, came early. So our Sergeant at Arms was in the house, Toastmaster was in the house, and everybody else was loitering outside, maybe having a smoke break or something like that. But it's important for us to start on time. And in order to start on time, people have to come early. There may have been a challenge today. We didn't have any guests, and I'm just wondering if this is because our social media didn't have the updated password for the account. So we had updated them on Easy Speak and on the Toastmasters site, but I don't know if all of our social media had our new password, which is Toasties24. If people don't have that, hi Olya, if people don't have the password, they can't get in. So that may be a reason why we don't have guests today. Having said that, with 9 members in the house, sorry, 9 members in the house, because I see myself twice, we actually did quite a good job, I think, in making the meeting flow well. That would not be possible if the Toastmasters, they hadn't done an amazing job in preparing for the meeting. So I have to say that Valeriya was extremely well organized and methodical in her preparation. During her presentation, she was very poised, she was smiling, she was sometimes serious, but still smiling. She had very good eye contact. And she did a very good job in preparing for each of the people she was going to introduce. She had some personal words to share about them that were meaningful. And then after they spoke, she had some very good remarks that showed that she was listening to what they had said that could then segue into the next part of her Toastmaster journey, Toastmaster of the Day journey. So I thought that was extremely good. One point I noted that could be improved, it's a Toastmasters tradition, I guess, or protocol that when we introduce a speaker, we say the name of the speaker, Randall, speaking about dead cats, Randall. So that's the way in which Toastmasters, especially at all of the competitions, we introduce speakers in our speeches. But that's just a small point, easy to improve. You did a very good job in introducing each of the role players at the beginning of the meeting, except for me. But that was okay. I was not offended because you introduced me later on and you told my touching and compelling personal story that could be turned into a big money-making movie. So I appreciate that. Topic Master of the Day did a stupendous job. I think that's the best example I've seen of preparation for it being done online, because you had 8 questions prepared, which is the ideal number. 8's a lucky number in Chinese culture where I come from. So that was lucky. Each slide was very nicely laid out with the Toastmasters branding at the bottom, with the header of the topic, with the question, and then a nice little graphic image. So I just thought that was a beautiful example, and I hope you will share that in the chat as a file so we can all learn from it for the future. Rami, you also did a very good job in introducing you did a very good job in picking people, which I thought was a very effective approach. We didn't waste any time looking for volunteers. You just read out the question. The whole audience knew what it was about. Then you chose someone. I thought that was a very good way to do it. And then you also had very good remarks after each person spoke, which showed that you had listened to what they said and it was segueing into the next one. Speech evaluators, I just want to make a note that Marina, you did a very good job standing up, not like me sitting in a chair here, but I haven't figured out how to put my camera up properly so I don't have to sit down. It's very good if you can be delivering it standing up. The only issue you had is that you could be a bit more concise in the future. You had a lot to say, but you need, as the speech evaluator, you only have 3 minutes, so you have to compress it down to a couple of key points. And I think, Walter, you in your speech evaluation, you smiled quite a lot, but you were also serious, and you had some clear points that you delivered that you wanted to get across with ways to improve, and then you concluded with some positive notes about the speech. And then Michael, similarly, You had one thing I noticed today, Michael, when you were the speech evaluator, your eye contact for the first 90 seconds was way below your standard. Normally, you're pinpointing your eyes, looking straight at the audience. But at the beginning of your evaluation, you were looking down, left, right, down, until about a minute and a half in, and then you got back directly into focus with the audience. And you also had very specific points to improve, and you gave examples of how to do them, including physically standing back, which I thought was very effective. And then you had a conclusion at the end, which was a very positive statement about the speech overall, and then you reiterated, you repeated again those two or three points, clear points that you had recommended that the person take into account, which was Konstantin. And I think that's all I have to say today about the meeting. I think, except that we started late and we had roles that were unfilled again until an hour and a half before the meeting, and it shouldn't be like that. We need to ask members to be more proactive in volunteering, because when it comes time for the meeting, we have to have all these roles filled. You know that because you've been here 5, 10, 50, 100 times to our meeting. So everyone knows what the format is. Everyone knows we need a timer, we need a quiz master, we need speech evaluators. So please, in the future, volunteer. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Randall. And before we move to our winners awards, I just want to say one more thing, because I talk about the siblings of all of us, a part of one person. Marina, I missed you, sorry, and now I'm going to correct it. Marina has no siblings, but she has many cousins who she's trying to build a good relationship with, because she always wanted to have a big family, sisters and brothers. The more the merrier. So with that, we are going to announce the winners of today's sessions. And for that, I will give the word to Alexander.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As you can see, best evaluator today is Walter Schwarz. Congratulations, Walter. By the way, you can unmute.
Whoa,
yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh yeah.
General evaluator has
so
given
they
his
can
report.
hear me smile better.
Yeah, absolutely. Best table topic speaker is me.
Oh my God! Whoa, whoa.
The best part is nobody will check the votes as of the ballot counter. And the best speaker today is Walter Schwarz.
Oh,
Yay.
boy. Wow.
Thank you for giving a speech. Thank you for giving an evaluation today, Mr. Walter. I'm gonna pass the stage back to Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Alexander, and congratulations to all the winners of today. The last thing I would like to say before giving the ball back to Mr. President is that I really enjoyed today's session. I think the theme of the day, the siblings, was very good suited for today, because I really had the feeling that we have this family festival atmosphere in our meetings. And again, thank you very much for your engagement and active participation. And with that, I'm giving the stage back to the President, Walter Schwarz.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Valeriya. Thank you very much. You've done a fantastic job with this chaotic crowd, I have to say. Very much admire your background as well, because for a second I was Not sure if today you are probably in the library as Konstantin was the last time, but I just left this thought to myself. Dear Toastmasters of today, thank you very much for 135th nice meeting.